Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our show brought to you by Jinx Logos. I've said time and time again this spring and this summer that no one does a better job of helping people market their businesses than Jinx Logos. They also have some fantastic prices. So it's a 1-2 punch. Great cost and the terrific customer service that I've been telling you about. Jinx Logos is my go-to call when it comes to hats, caps, T-shirts, mugs, anything that's going to have the Sports Source logo that I hand out to people. I go to Jinx Logos. You should too. All right. Tennessee lost 11 scholarship players to transfer by mid-February. Everybody was kind of worried about it at that point, and then it died down. They've also got a few transfers coming in this year. Now you've got the Jaquez Bruce thing that we talked about just earlier in the show. My question is, since you can never really safely say, well, Tennessee has X scholarships remaining. You just can't do it. We try, but you can't. At this point, is it something that Vol fans should be concerned about, having that much churn in your football program? Or do you say, hey, that's just a sign of getting better players and better athletes? Thoughts?
I think it's also a sign of the times. A lot of these guys want to play football. And they come, and if you're on third on the depth chart and your playing time is going to be limited, you leave. And I think that's a little bit of a difference from probably a couple of decades ago when guys, they came to Tennessee, I want to play at Tennessee, and if I don't get to play that much, so be it. So I think it's more of a sign of the times than a sign of a problem at Tennessee. You're going to be concerned when you start losing guys that are playing a lot. That's when I would be concerned.
I think it's a sign that you've signed over 30 people in your first two classes. You can't sign that many and have everybody happy.
Yeah, and you're promising them they're going to play.
Now, some of them may go on to be pretty good. I don't know. I do think that can impact your depth a little bit now. But as far as long term, I don't see Tennessee signing 30-something this year or in the future. And so I think it's sort of a situational issue that's occurred, and I don't think going forward you'll see nearly as many transfers.
I think some of it's addition by subtraction. I also think that most of it, like Jimmy said, is Butch Jones is coming in. He's building this program. He had to get a bunch of guys to put on scholarship at least early. And then when these guys leave, I don't think it really hinders Tennessee that much to the point where we should be really concerned about it. Again, like Bob said, if the good players start to leave, then you have something to worry about. But until that happens, I think you're good.
You just had another good sign of it. All right, let's say one or two of these guys leave. You just had another really good day. Judging by the social media reaction of the orange carpet event yesterday, you had a lot of guys that were wowed by Tennessee. So as long as you're recruiting top 5, top 10 in the country, okay, another hole is just another guy we're going to plug from this year's class.
And so much of this is a numbers game, like we said. You know, and it is a depth chart, and I think you have to dig into these numbers a little bit and see why somebody is leaving. You know, do they have a legitimate gripe, or do they think they don't need to go to class? Or are they not really good practice players? Or they don't like being third on the depth chart?
Or have they transferred 5 times in 6 years because they always want to play?
Yeah, so and then when you dig into the numbers, if you need to worry then, but just because it's happening, no.
See, I think you're at a point now where you don't need to worry about it. First of all, your APR is good enough now. I mean, there was a time when Butch Jones' first year, you didn't need this because you were on the APR cliff. Now your numbers are good enough to where you can withstand some of this stuff. But also, I'll name 3 programs for you that have more churn on their roster than anybody else in the SEC. Alabama, LSU, and Georgia. Those are probably the 3 most consistent winners over the last decade in the SEC as well. So I think if you're recruiting at a high level and you've got the APR leeway, I don't think this is that big of a deal. I don't think it's a reason for anybody to worry at this point. Now, as we said, get back to me in a year or two if this is still going on and you've seen some really good players leave for other bizarre reasons, okay. But right now, I don't think it's time to worry about it.
John, last thing I would say, too, I would worry a little bit about how these kids were maybe coddled or treated in high school and if they were allowed to just skate through without having to do certain things that you need to do as a student athlete.
Or in recruiting.
And if you're losing a guy who doesn't want to compete for a spot, it's not going to hurt you that much anyway.
And see, I wonder about what they're being told in recruiting. A lot of guys now have to say, you play early. And one of the things that suggests that to me, you've got to go, but be quiet, John, you got to cut here. But one of the things that suggests it to me is when you look at the numerical roster for Tennessee, there are about 15 guys that are all sharing numbers. I mean, so you're promising a lot of guys, yeah, you can be number 7. And you got 8 number 7s on the team. I mean, that to me says, oh, he's giving me the break sign. Okay. Appreciate it. When we come back, we'll talk about Austin Nichols. Mark Pancratz rejoins us. We'll talk about Austin Nichols, the former Memphis player. He was at Virginia this weekend. Might he wind up at Tennessee? We'll discuss. Come on back.
From East Tennessee to Kentucky, no job is too small for Benedict Construction. Electrical work, heating and air installation, even carports and garages. With a reputation for excellence, rely on the custom work of Benedict Construction.